Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Self-Care Saturday. Happy Self-Care Saturday. Let me try to put this title on here. What y'all got going on today? I wanted to pop in real fast. I just came out of a session. And I want to pop in real fast to see how y'all self-caring for yourself today. How are you taking care of yourself? And to check and see if you went and got your retreat her tickets. Listen, we are down to about one more week here in the month of March, Women's Month. And I wanted to check in with you to see, have you purchased your tickets? Listen, I'm super excited about some of the things that God has been doing, how he has been moving with this. I can't wait, y'all. I can't wait. And I am looking so forward to meeting you in person. I'm looking forward to shaking your hand, hugging you, taking a picture, getting a selfie. Want you to come and bring the book so I can sign. I want to love on you. I want to thank you for all your support. I'm just looking to just get away and just have some girl time. April's my birthday month. It's going to be my birthday weekend. So I'm already turned. I get turned at the beginning of April. Like, I celebrate my birthday all month long. And so I'm super excited. And so I just wanted to remind you. I want to remind you to go get your tickets. Go purchase your tickets right now. So you can secure your slot. The 27th is the last day for the room blocks. So if you want to go ahead and, stay at the venue, I want to encourage you to go ahead and secure your slot so you can get the link to secure your room, Bring your girlfriends, your auntie and them, your sister and them, your cousins and them, your co-workers. Like, bring all of them. We have a whole weekend full of excitement, a whole weekend full of some great things that we want to do and, do for the ladies. The meet and greet on that, Friday morning, Friday afternoon-ish. Then the sunflower, celebration that evening, and then the actual workshop, the Women's Transformational Wellness Workshop, that will be taking place on that Saturday. We have a hip hop cardio workout that's taking place early morning Saturday, and then for the wives who want to sit down and chit chat and chop it up with Coach T on Sunday, we have a VIP day specifically for the wives on that Sunday. So y'all go and purchase your tickets. Go and secure yourselves. Get yourself locked in. And we're going to keep it moving. All right? Listen, y'all see the title. I want to come in real fast and just talk about the mental exhaustion, the mental distractions, and how the enemy is really, really working overtime in certain people's lives to just stop them from moving forward and doing the things that God has called them to do. I'm going to say a quick prayer. Jesus, be a fence. I pray for this message to reach the wife it's supposed to reach. I pray, God, that you bring forth your words, and whoever needs to get this, Lord, I pray that they grab a hold to this today in the name of Jesus. Amen. My name is Coach T. For some of you who may not know me, my name is Coach T. I am a mental health wife coach. Hello. I'm a mental health wife coach. I coach wives specifically who are going through marital separations. A lot of times these wives are dealing with the breakdown of their marriages. That includes adultery, addiction, abandonment, mental and emotional distress. And so I help these wives transform into their whole healthy selves as they are going through a harsh, challenging time in their marriages. All right. And so welcome. Like I said, the enemy is working overtime to stop you from doing the work of the Lord. He is working overtime in this season. All right. But I want to caution you. I want to caution you today to stay focused and stay alert. Stay steady on the job. Continue to do the things that the Lord is asking you to do. Okay. Y'all know I always, when I share things, I'm sharing things from, something I either went through myself, something I have experienced with, with a client. So I'm always speaking to you from a point of view, like I know what I'm talking about, because this is not something I'm just like, going by a book. I'm actually speaking from experience. Okay. The enemy is using mental and emotional and physical exhaustion to distract different ones from getting the job done. And I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to get the job done. Wherever you are on your journey, wife, wherever it is that God has you currently, I want to encourage you to get the job done. You have to make sure that you are moving in a forward direction. I was telling my accountability partner the other day, like, man, this new era is a trip. Like, this new era is a trip. And I think I remember telling y'all, like, at the end of last year, like, I was not ready. Like, I was not ready because I had already knew, because God had already been prepping me prior. God had already been placing stuff in my spirit. And I was already, like, aware of what, what was getting ready to come. And, like, now that we are here, it's like, man, I wasn't ready. Okay. I was not ready. However, God is holding us accountable. God is holding us accountable to get the job done. God may have given you specific instructions to do certain things. And listen, you have to move in a forward direction. You have to move in a forward direction. This is one of the reasons why it's so very important that you are taking care of yourself. This is one of the reasons why it's so very important that you are prioritizing yourself, that you are taking care of your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your physical health. This is why it's so important that you are protecting these areas, okay? You have to not only prioritize them, but you have to really, really like press in and protect your mental and emotional health. Like, I have noticed, like, the enemy is really, really, really coming for the minds of God's people, right? He is really, really coming for their minds. And so you have to stay on alert. You have to stay on alert, okay? Spiritually, people are declining. they are declining, and they are declining not because they don't believe in God, not because they don't think Jesus is our savior, not because they God can't do these things, or God is not able to do what he say he's able to do. No, they are declining because they see no movement. They see no changes. And so when you're not seeing no movement, when you're not seeing no changes, and you are constantly showing up and nothing is changing, nothing is getting better, nothing is moving, it kind of puts you at a, it's like, you kind of feel like, God, are you hearing me? You're like, is this in vain? Is anything happening? Is anything moving? But I have learned the art of consistency, and you will have to learn that art as well. Right? You will have to learn that art as well. You have to keep being consistent even when motivation leaves, right? You have to keep being consistent even when motivation leaves. This week, I have had to be consistent. And I have had to be consistent because the enemy has literally been trying to come for my mind. Right? He has been coming from my mind. He has been popping up in my dreams. He has been in my ear like a buzz. Like, he has been there. Like, hey, I go again. Hey, I'm still here. Hey, I'm right here. I hadn't left. He has been there. He has been there. But you have to know greater. Come on, Jesus is living on the inside of you. Greater is working on the inside of you. And because you know that greater is working on the inside of you, you have to continue to move forward. You have to be consistent. All right? People can see that you have a specific light on you, right? People can see that you have a specific light on you, and they can see where God is taking you. And you have to constantly, as you are moving on your journey, as you are healing, as you are getting better, as you are walking, this walk with God, people, and I always tell my wives, healthy is attractive. Healthy is attractive. And so people can see that healthy light on you. People will begin to start seeing like, something is different about this person. This person is going somewhere. This person is moving. And you have to ask God to help you put on your discernment glasses. Come on, Jesus. You need your discernment glasses. You have to apply wisdom and discernment at an all-time high, right? People will come for you when you are healing. People will come for you when you are getting healthy. People will come for you when you are walking in the ways of the Lord because it's attractive, okay? It's attractive. Pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to the things, around you. God is always talking. I am a biggie on wives taking that time out to hear from God. If you have not already got my e-course on, the clarity call, the 30 day strategy, how to hear from God, I want to encourage you to get that. Get the e-course on how to hear from God, gaining clarity on where you are on your journey. I am a biggie for wives getting into a place of solitude where they can kind of like just cut all the noises out and get in that place where they can hear from God. Like get in that place where you can hear from God, because you are having to protect yourself on another level. A lot of times what wives do not understand, when God has called you to stay in an unhealthy marriage, God has not called you to stay in this unhealthy marriage only because for your marriage to your husband. You have to know that when he calls you to this place, he is getting ready to train you for a specific job that he wants to use you in the kingdom for. And this is why I feel like so many wives are missing it at. Because they think that, I'm going through this, this hard time in my marriage. I'm going through this, this bad time. And yes, you need to address that pain. Yes, you need to address the different, hurts that you're dealing with. You need to address the marital injury. But you have to know, if God has told you to stand for a marriage or stay in a marriage that you have biblical reasons to exit out of, that you have every reason in the book to leave, you got to know this is not just about your marriage. All right. God chose you to do this because he can trust you. God chose you to do this because he knew that you can get the job done. But God also has chosen you to do this because he sees something in you that he wants to use for the kingdom. So your marriage becomes the training. Your marriage becomes the course that he uses to train you for what he wants to do in the kingdom. And I always tell wives, your husband will benefit from you staying in that unhealthy marriage and doing what God has asked you to do. The people around you will benefit from you standing and doing what God has asked you to do. The ones that God has called you to will definitely benefit from the, what you have made a decision to do in your marriage. But you have to know that your marital injury is not about your marriage. Your marital injury is training for you, wife. Once you go through the, I always say the technicalities of, the discomforts, the up, down emotions, the getting past him and the other woman. Once you go through all those steps, which is also a process, it's also a part of your process. Once you get through all that stuff, there's something that awaits you on the other side. There is something that awaits you on the other side. This is where my curriculum, Her Buoyancy Boost, comes in, that because once I walk wives through the marital injury portion of it, once we walk them through the hard stuff of it, then this is where now we are transforming this wife to be a healthier helper. This is where we are now transforming that wife to be a representative of Christ. Now you are no longer just your husband's wife. You become his wife, the bride of Christ. Go and get my book. It's on Amazon right now, right? You become his wife, a representative of Christ. And when you become his wife, now you are not operating only out of, that's my husband. You are now operating as a disciple. You become a wife disciple. You become a disciple for the kingdom. You are a representative of Christ. And God now uses what you went through in your marriage and the way he has healed you and the things that he has, allowed you to navigate through. He's using those things to perfect what he wants you to do for him in the kingdom, right? I know that's a lot. Like, Coach C, what does this have? I know it'd be a lot. And this is why I always tell wives, get accountability, get connected with the right source. A lot of times wives, and I think this is why, so many coaches, marriage coaches struggle, with, getting their curriculum to different ones, is because a lot of wives only want to talk about just the pain. They don't ever want to get past the pain. Or they feel like, oh, well, let me just go to a therapist, or let me go to a counselor. And it's like, yeah, you can do that too. But that wife who has went through something like that, they're going to understand you more than that counselor or that therapist, or even a pastor who has not walked through that, right? Because like at the end of the day, you have biblical reasons to exit out of your marriage. If your husband has committed adultery, is an adultery affair has taken place, if your husband is living across town with the other woman, yes, the Bible tells you that you have reasons to exit out of that marriage. You don't have to go and ask your pastor, well, pastor, should I stay with my husband because he's over there with the other woman? You have biblical reasons to exit out of your marriage. And this is why it's so important that you need to hear from God. You need to hear from God yourself to know if he's told you to stay in this marriage. Because if he's told you to stay in this marriage, it ain't about your marriage. Your marriage, your injury, is the process. It's the training. It's the course that God is using for you to become a healthy upper, a better person, a representative, a disciple for his kingdom. All right. That's what that becomes. And so this is why I have placed her authority boots in the middle of this, because the curriculum needs to be taken for wives to understand, okay, now that I've got through this part of my life, now I need to develop into this part of my life. And so that's why as a wife coach, I do the whole, the whole part of the transformation. I help that wife to transform into a healthier her, a healthier, better her, a healthier wife disciple. You are become, like I said, a representative of Christ. What has happened and what has been happening is so many are in positions, as we all are. I don't ever want to downplay, the inflation that's taking place. Everybody got money issues, everything, that kind of thing going on. So people are kind of like navigating through these steps as they can, because they're just not able to afford these things. But you still need accountability, right? You still need accountability, because there is something that God is calling you to each and every day. God is constantly transforming you into a different version of yourself each and every day. I think I just heard a person recently just shared, like, in each season, you are being transformed into a different version of yourself. You are constantly being transformed into a new person. You are constantly being transformed if you are allowing God to change you. Right? If you are not allowing bitterness and anger, and you're harboring anger in your heart, you're holding unforgiveness. If you're not harboring those things and staying in that place, and you allowing God to order your steps, you are constantly going to be changing, right? You're going to constantly be changing. And sometimes as you're changing and you're growing and you're moving forward, you have to understand that the enemy does not want you to get to that next place. Right? He does not want you to get to that next place on your journey. He does not want you to succeed. So he's going to send all kinds of roadblocks to stop you, to hinder you, to keep you at a standstill place, which is why I always say you got to learn the art of consistency. Because even when you can have a good you can get a good motivating, word. Somebody can give you an encouragement. Somebody can, speak some great encouragement to you. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's over with. Now what I do? Like, what's next? You can go to church and get a good message on Sunday, and have a whole breakthrough moment on Sunday, and deliverance and everything take place. It's like, okay, but now it's Wednesday, so now I'm stuck. So what do I do? Right? You have to learn the art of consistency. You have to learn the art of how to continue to take care of yourself, and take care of yourself as you continue to move forward on this journey. Lately, God has had me fixated on the bird eagles, right? I've been noticing a lot of eagles. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It seems like when I walk out the door, or if I'm driving in my car, or my truck, God brings to my attention, an eagle. And I've been like, I know I'm not just seeing this. Like, that lately this eagle been like, like really, really hoovering over me lately. Like, I've been seeing this eagle. And an eagle is a powerful symbol in the Bible, representing God's power, his protection, and sovereignty. It also symbolizes his anointing power, the Holy Spirit, faith, belief, wisdom, and vision. The eagle is also often a representative of the resurrection of Christ. Listen, we are in a resurrection season. All right. Y'all already know how I feel about resurrection season, because I am that wife who witnessed God resurrect my husband from death to life. Okay. I witnessed God bring my husband back. My husband was gone and God brought him back to life. Okay. So I am a believer. I'm a believer when it comes down to the resurrection. And I sense God doing something in marriages in this season. I sense him doing something. For the ones who have been diligently seeking God's help concerning their marriage and where things are, God is bringing forth resurrection in marriages. Right? God is bringing forth resurrection in marriage. And the enemy stay big mad. Right? One of the things that I always teach my wives is pay attention to your triggers. Pay attention to, your stressors. Pay attention to your environment. Pay attention to your emotions. Pay attention when your mood, your mood changes. Pay attention to certain type of, environments, certain type of seasons. When this happened, how you start to feel. Or when this happened, how you start to feel. This time of the month, how you start to feel. This time of the day, how you start to feel. Pay attention to those things, because God is always speaking and the enemy is always trying to use it to come for you, right? He's always trying to use it. It's nothing like a wife being self-aware about herself. This is so important for a wife to be self-aware about who she is. It's nothing like a person being kind of completely off. I don't know. What's wrong with you? I don't know. How you feeling? I don't know. What you got going on? I don't know. Like, you need to know these things, right? You need to be aware of self at an all-time high, especially during seasons of resurrection. I've seen God do the miraculous several times in these seasons. As a wife coach and a marriage consultant, I can't tell you, right? I can't tell you how much I get hit with mental exhaustion, mental, distractions concerning marriage. I cannot tell you how often the enemy comes from me when it comes down to these types of things, because I'm sharing, the news about, the gospel. I'm sharing with, other wives on how to, keep them in their marriages. I'm talking to you about, about your marriage covenant, and you got to know and understand the enemy hates that. The enemy hates that. The enemy tries to send me, Coach T, backwards. He tried to send me to backward places when God is trying to get me to see his taxes. And so this is one of the reasons why I have really been, really trying to help wives to pay attention to those cycles. Pay attention to, why do I respond this way? Pay attention to, what makes me, react this way? What has happened for me to, for my emotions to get me this way? How has this thing set me back? I was talking to a client about a week ago, and she was sharing how, she was feeling like, she had this weight on her, and then all of a sudden, she noticed that this weight had left. Hello. She knows that this weight had left. But when that weight had left, she had received a phone call from a family member, and then all of a sudden that feeling of, that heaviness had kind of like came back over her again. And she's like, wait, like I was just finally feeling a release, and now I had this call, like this feeling that came back. You got to be able to recognize and know where you are on your journey, and know what certain things are triggering you and what's causing you to, respond a certain way. This is why I'm a believer with that, taking time out for yourself. All right. Self-caring is not just about going to get your nails done, going to get your hair done, going to get your toes done, going to your favorite restaurant. Yes, that's part of it. But self-caring is about sketching out that time and sitting in that sweet spot with God, having that time to talk to him, devotional time, having that time to just sit with him, listening and hearing from him, having that time when you are actually allowing him to minister to you. You are having that time when you sitting and you spending that time with God. That's what self-care is. All right. It's about you spending that dedicated, absolutely necessary time with God to get what it is that you need for yourself. How can you be any good for anyone else if you're not yourself filled up? I wouldn't be able to do what I do as a coach, as a wife, as a mother, if I am not spending that personal time with God. And this is some of the things that I teach my wives in the, her Born to Boost curriculum, the importance of that devotion time, the importance of sitting with God, the importance of, just having scripture time, the importance of praying in the spirit, the importance of self-talks, the importance of, worshiping, the importance of fasting on a regular basis, the importance of midnight prayers and when you should be incorporating midnight prayers, the importance of, just journaling. Those things are important. It's a strategy to that. It'll be like, oh, we're just going to do this. I'm just going to hand out this. I'm going to hand out. No. It's a strategy to those things and how you're supposed to do those things, right? And so you have to know as a wife coach, we are not perfect people, right? We are not perfect people, and we do have fears as well. One of the things, I'm just being transparent about, me as a wife coach. One of the things that I struggle with a lot of times is that going backwards, right? Dealing with, a lot of those things that I had to deal with, in the past, with my husband. The trauma from what you have went through in your marriage is something you have to work out, on a daily basis. You have to work this stuff out on a daily basis because the enemy wants to keep you in that place, and you have to make a decision not to go to that place. It's so easy for you to go backwards. A lot of times, even when I come on and share and I come on, and talk about, different things or whatever, I have to sometimes go back to those places. Let me tell you, that's not an easy task, right? That sometimes brings up a lot of different emotions. It brings up a lot of different, scares. It brings up a lot of, different, just anxiety. A lot of different things happen sometimes, when talking to two wives, in certain stories that's shared, or certain things that come up, from what they say, and I bring certain things up. You have to understand, like, this is not an easy task, right? Mentally, as a wife and marriage coach, I have to make sure that I am meeting God in that secret place on a regular. Right? I have to make sure that I am constantly seeking God out, on a regular. Hello. I have to constantly make sure that I'm seeking God out, and having that sweet time with him, because I wouldn't even be able to do my job as a coach. Mentally, the enemy wants to keep me in a holding cell. I'm talking about your wife coach. Mentally, the enemy wants to keep me in a standstill place. I'm talking about your wife coach. You have to constantly, the Bible tells us, you have to constantly work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You have to constantly be working out your own stuff. Hello, with fear and trembling. I have to be intentional about sketching out that time for myself. I have to be intentional about shutting off at a certain time. I have to be intentional about putting my phone on do not disturb. I have to be intentional about not talking to certain family members at, certain times. I have to be intentional, and they call it, oh, well, you're being selfish. No, you have to be selfish sometimes when it comes down to your mental health, right? You have to be selfish sometimes when it comes down to that. And this is why Coach C have no tolerance for the foolery. When people are, I want to have a session, make up your mind before you come to me, okay? Make up your mind, because we're not over here playing tit-tat-toe. I'm not over here patty caking with you. It's like when we start this process, I'm here to work. I'm here to show up. I'm here to hold you accountable. I'm here to walk you through the steps. I'm here to guide you on this journey, right? And so if you are not certain that you are, you ready for this, or you're still kind of like playing a head games, or you're not taking what I'm sharing with you serious, it's like, don't waste my time. You can have all the money in the world, but if you're going to stay in the same place and do the same things over and over again, you're wasting my time. You're wasting your money, right? But you're also wasting my time, because all that stuff counts. It counts, right? Sometimes even as a coach, when my husband does certain things, I start looking at him funny. It could be something good. He could be changing the bins, taking out the trash. I'm like, why he being so nice today? Right? I can have those types of moments. And this is why I have to be intentional about seeking that time out for myself. That's why I have to be intentional about making sure that I sketch that time out for myself. The enemy is constantly on alert. The Bible talks about that, and I think in Peter, where it says, stay alert. You have an enemy that's lurking. He's looking to devour you. He's looking for an entry. One of the things that I was speaking with, the young lady, in the session I had today, is the importance of bouncing back quickly. The enemy constantly wants to find a entry. He's looking for a doorway. He's looking for a way to get in. Once he has that entry, it is sometimes hard to get him out, right? You have to do all kinds of spiritual warfare to pray him out. Have your human moments. It's nothing wrong with you having human moments. If you don't have those human moments, I don't feel like you are human. People be like, oh, well, you don't got enough faith because you this way, or you don't really believe God because you ain't doing this way. No. All right. I don't teach like that. I encourage my wives. You need to have you a good cry once a week. Sometimes it depends on where you are on your journey. Maybe you have to have that good cry once a day, because those tears are prayers as well. You need to have you a good cry. You need to have your human moments. You need to address the things. And I think I had put that in my, put that in my notes. You need to address, the elephant in the room. You need to address your emotions. You need to address, that thing that's on the inside of you. This is why I push my wife to journal. And this was one of the young ladies that, I just had a session with. For the life of me, I could not get this lady to journal. She's like, oh, I don't want to journal. I don't want to journal. I'm like, listen, this is going to help you. And now that she has started to do it, she's noticed the difference in how important and how helpful it has been for her to just journal. Listen, the enemy is coming for your mind. The enemy is constantly coming for you. You are not on this journey because God want me to stand for my marriage. Your marriage injury is the course that God is giving you for the work that he wants to use you in the kingdom. Okay. I am a witness. Okay. I'm living this in real time. I'm trying to tell you the truth. Your marriage injury is the process. It's the course. It's the vehicle that God is using to get you to kingdom, right? He's trying to use that to get you to kingdom. This is not about your marriage, wife. This is why you got to get healed. This is why you got to get healthy. This is why you got to get whole. This is why you got to do your own personal work, because this is not about your marriage. Okay. You can hear verses, and you can hear verses. You can hear messages, that you watch on TV. You can, or watching on YouTube. That it really can make you sometimes question what God is doing in your marriage. Right? This is why I always tell wives, be careful about what you allow in your spirit, what you allow your ears to take heed of, who you allow to talk to you about your marriage, who you allow to, who are you listening to and what they are saying to you concerning your marriage, because God has each person on a different journey. All right. A lot of wives are getting discouraged on this journey, but a lot of wives get discouraged because they are not willing to go to that next level. They're not willing to go to that next step. And sometimes that next step requires a stripping of them, and they're not ready to do that. So they are being, the enemy is coming for their mind. They are being distracted. They are being, thrown completely off. They keep on going on these up, down roller coaster rides because they're not allowing themselves to get to the next level. Right? They're not allowing themselves to get to the next level. When you are working on yourself, what you have to understand, what this journey is about. I know you thinking, oh, I got this, this heart injury. I got this situation happening in my marriage. My husband did this. My husband did this. My husband did this. You have to understand that, yes, God wants to heal you in those areas. And as he's healing you in those areas, he wants you to start taking forward steps to doing the things that he's calling you to do as well. God wants to heal your marriage. God wants to do something in your husband, but he also wants you to take these forward steps to start doing your own personal inner work, right? The enemy is coming for your mind. I'm telling you, he's coming for your mind. Learn your triggers, acknowledge your emotions, and address the elephant in the room. Have more self-talks. Pray in the spirit. I'm a believer in praying in the spirit. Because praying in the spirit, that's between you and God. You don't know what you're saying. The enemy don't know what you're saying. That's a conversation between you and God. And as you are praying in the spirit, you are getting encouraged. You are getting built up. You are getting, in that good place. You need to learn how to pray in the spirit. It is a weapon, right? It is a weapon. And get you some accountability. Right? Get you some accountability. The enemy is not going to stop playing the head games. And that is where he gets most of us. He goes straight to the mind. He goes straight to the mind. He goes straight to the mind. He tried to attack your identity. He tried to come for your confidence. This is why the Bible talks about, cast not away your confidence. All right. You got to know who your confidence and where your confidence comes from. You got to know how to continue to pick yourself up and keep moving. Learn the art of consistency, because motivation is going to run out. Learn the art of consistency, because eventually inspiration and encouragement, that's those words will run dry. But being consistent on this journey, being consistent means I'm going to consistently meet with God daily. I'm going to consistently, have me a scripture that I'm reading. I'm going to consistently have personal self-talk. Every morning with my kids, when they was younger, I would have them say, we wrote up a affirmation speech, and my kids would say that speech every single morning. Psalms 121 was our go-to, and I made it into like a little song. And by me making it into the song, they knew to say that speech. We would say that speech, and it was a certain prayer that we prayed every single day. And that's how my kids, even to this day, when they think about, and I tell them, well, recite this Bible verse, and they have to they go to the song and they remember the song. Find out what works for you, because the enemy is not going to stop coming for your mind. He's not going to stop coming for you. He's trying to stop you from doing the work of the Lord. He's trying to stop you from getting to the place that God has told you to be. And listen, I can't tell you what God has told you to do. I can't tell you what God has told you to be, but you know what God is telling you to do. And because you know what God is telling you to do, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional with prioritizing your mental health. You have to be intentional about protecting your mind. Sometimes protecting your mind means I can't watch certain things. I can't engage in certain activities. I can't go certain places. I can't listen to certain music. I can't do certain things. Sometimes engaging, and protecting your mind is you having to read a certain book, right? You're having to watch a certain TV show. I think I shared with y'all, for many years, my husband and I was separated. The Hallmark channel was my safe channel, right? It was my safe channel because it wasn't nothing freaky and stuff going on. You might get a little hug, a little kiss here and there, but it was nothing crazy and freaky. And you always know how the happy ending was going to turn out. Now, I'm not saying that's reality, right? I'm not saying that's reality, but what I have learned is I cannot get engaged into everything. I couldn't go to all these places. People would invite me to go certain places. You have to protect you at all costs. You have to protect your well-being at all costs. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And let me tell you, when that thing hits your physical body, baby, I got sick recently. And that thing had hit me so hard. I mean, I literally was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, the enemy came from my mind and was like, if you get sick, then everything stops, and this happened, and you don't got no money saved up, and you don't got this going on, and I was like, wait, where is this stuff coming from? And it was almost like he was coming for my mind in all kinds of ways. Listen, wise, take care of yourself. This new era, it's a trip. It is a trip. But I'm telling you right now, you are not going to cross over and get nowhere unless you take the necessary steps that's needed. And sometimes, ladies, that requires an investment on your part, right? That requires an investment on a part. Counseling, going to your pastor, going to a therapist, seeking out, family members for help. Those types of things are great. Right? Those type of things are great. But you know what God has been saying to you. You know what God has been speaking to you. You know how God has been telling you to move on this journey, right? You know who God has told you to go and let this person help you go. I want this person to counsel you. Go. I want this person to, to be your advisor. You already know, right? So many wives are doing this journey on their own, and then they're trying to figure out, why I'm stuck? Why I'm in the same place? Why I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again? Because you are unwilling to take the necessary steps that's needed. Listen, this is a faith journey. Even when it comes down to the investment part, right? Even when it comes down to the investment part, like I share with you all the time. Invest in yourself. Invest in your mental health. Invest in your emotional health. Invest in your spiritual health. Invest in your physical health. Invest in your financial health. Invest in those things because it's making you that whole healthy person that God needs you to be. Because when you start doing things and God say, I need you to use your money to do this. Wait a minute, God. Like, I ain't signed up for that part. Like, no, I'm not going to give you no loan. No, I'm not going to approve you for this. I need you to use your own money because I'm trying to do something in you. When God tell you to take your money that you done had to the side, that you've been saving up to use for an event that you are trusting him by faith to go buy and work, Okay, you need to make sure that you are healthy and financially. You need to make sure that you are okay. You need to have the right mindset for that, right? You need to make sure that you are able to adjust to the changes and adjust to the things that he's calling you to do. You need to make sure that you are in a healthy place, right? When you go through a marital injury and you have biblical reason to leave that marriage, but God has asked you to stay, you need to heal from that marital injury. You need to walk through those steps. You need to go through those emotional hurdles. You need to allow somebody to walk with you through that pain. You need to get understanding. You need to understand the spiritual side. You need to understand what your husband got going on. You need to understand the attack that has happened in your marriage. You need to understand your marriage covenant, right? You need to understand why God would ask you to do something this hard and stay in something that's so wrong. Everything about this just seems wrong, right? But once you get understanding with all those things, once you walk through those steps, then the next thing is you need to go through your steps of transformation. And transformation says, I'm ready to start walking in a forward direction that God is calling me to. This is where her Bonus Boost comes in at. Her Bonus Boost is a wife developer curriculum, right? It's a wife transformational developer that helps wives to get to a healthy place on this journey. Because you're not only called to stay in that marriage for your husband. You have to understand and know that God is calling you for kingdom to be his wife, the bride of Christ. Again, go get my book off of Amazon, His Wife, okay? In the meantime, I want to encourage you, come be a part of Retreat Her. Retreat Her is like a vision, in a sense of what her bonus boost is like, right? It's kind of like a vision of what her bonus boost is like, and what I do with some of the wives. And it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for women, not just wives. It's an opportunity for women to come together and be able to treat themselves. Come learn some new techniques. Come learn how to take care of your physical self. Come learn how to take care of yourself. Come learn some new routines on skin. Come learn some new routines on, how to, take care of your mind. Come learn some new, routines on, when grief, hits you and you start dealing with some emotional pain, how to deal with those things. Come learn some new marital tools. Come learn some financial tools. Come hear what the doctor says about a woman's body. I will have a woman's doctor there. She's a GYN. Come hear what she has to say. Come ask questions with this woman's doctor and see, you're like, okay, why a woman, responds this way, or why a woman might be having this going on, and when does, premenopausal start, and what ages does this stuff take place. This is what this retreat is all about. It's about teaching women how to take care of themselves, giving you new perspective, giving you new vision, giving you new understanding, helping you to take care of your well-being all the way across the board, right? So if you have not got your tickets, I want to encourage you to go get your tickets today. The enemy is not going to stop doing his job. He is not going to stop coming after you. He is not going to stop doing his job. This is why it's so important that you do your job. And as a woman, you have to know you have a hit on you. The enemy has been mad with you, big mad, since the Garden of Eden, right? He's been big mad with you since the Garden of Eden. He is not going to stop coming for your mind. He is not going to start coming for you. He is not going to stop trying to distract you and keep you hindered and keep you in that same spot. Make a decision this year. Make a decision today. Make a decision this month that you are going to invest in your well-being, that you're going to invest in your whole healthy self. I want to be a good wife, but I also want to be a good representative of Christ, right? I want to be a good mother, but I also want to make sure that I'm walking into my purpose and I'm doing the things that God has called me to do, right? I want to have a great job, but I also want to have me a little side business where I can have me a little side hustle, a little money coming in on the side as well, right? I want to be a good businesswoman. I want to walk in integrity and walk into character. These things are important, and so many wives, they want one side of this, but they don't want the other side. They want this side of it, but they don't want that side. Get the whole container. Get the whole thing. Retreat Her is an opportunity for you to come and engage in these type of activities. Retreat Her gives you an opportunity to come and engage and be around these type of people. The coaches, the providers, the speakers that will be in the room, that be in the building, it's nothing like being in the building. I know they say, oh, well, do you have anything that you can purchase online? No. But this one, I want you in the room. I want you in the room because it's nothing like being in the room and experiencing that with a bunch of other women from different genres and from different places. And you getting to be able to experience all that. All right. We're going to have some DJing. We're going to have some music. We're going to be celebrating. We're going to have a ceremony, right? I am part of the summer sunflower ceremony. We got a flower bar set up for you. We got some pampering going to be taking place. Like I said, you're going to have a hip hop cardio. We're going to have some line dancing going on. We're going to have a great time. At the same time, you're going to be able to be transformed into a healthier version of yourself. At the same time, if you make a decision, God, I want to go in and receive transformation. God, I want to go in and be released from these things. Come and be a part of this. Sign up today. You can sign up at www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com. If you have questions about the Retreat Her, you can go to the Retreat Her event off of Eventbrite. You go get your tickets there. If you have questions about any of the services that I offer, I want to encourage you to sign up at www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com. Listen, if you are in the surrounding Atlanta areas, if you are close by, where it's like an hour drive, a 2-hour drive, 3-hour drive, anything under 6 hours, listen, come be a part of this. Or you can even fly in. Just fly in and have this getaway where you can say, I'm just taking me a little spring getaway. Call it a spring fling with yourself. Come on, Jesus. I like the way that sounds. Call it a spring fling with yourself. Come and get this spring fling and get in the building, get in the room, and get transformed. All right. In the meantime, go and do something that you enjoy doing. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you guys on the other side. All right. Blessings.